Most people will spend their entire life waiting for someone to tell them they're enough. Don't be most people. There's a quiet prison that millions of people live in, and most of them don't even know they're locked inside it. It has no bars, no walls, no guards standing at the door, but it controls everything you do, everything you say, and even how you present yourself every single morning. That prison is the need for other people's approval. And the worst part, we built it ourselves. Brick by brick, starting from childhood, every time we were praised for being good, every time we were punished for being too much. We learned slowly and painfully that love was conditional, that acceptance had to be earned. And we never forgot that lesson. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it contingent self-worth. It means your value as a person, in your own mind, is tied to external things, to grades, to compliments, to how many people clap for you, to whether someone chose you. And studies show that people with contingent self-worth experience higher levels of anxiety, deeper depression, and more fragile relationships than people whose sense of value comes from within. Because when your worth depends on something outside of you, it can always be taken away. And your nervous system knows that, which is why you're always on edge, always scanning the room, always waiting for the next sign that you're still okay. There's a study that was done with a young elephant. When it's a baby, trainers tie it to a small wooden stake in the ground. The elephant pulls and pulls trying to break free, but it's too small, too weak. So eventually, it stops trying. And here's the heartbreaking part. When that elephant grows up, when it becomes one of the most powerful animals on Earth, capable of knocking down trees, it still doesn't pull, because its mind never got the update that its body did. It still believes the stake can hold it. Most people are that elephant. The opinions that trapped you when you were young, when you were small, when you needed approval to survive. Those stakes can't hold you anymore, but you're still standing there, not pulling. Think about how much of your life you've spent performing. Every time you post something and immediately refresh to check the likes, that's the prison. Every time you change your opinions mid-conversation just because someone pushed back, that's the prison. Every time you laugh at a joke you didn't find funny, agree with something you don't believe, or dress a certain way because of what someone might think, that's the prison. And here's what nobody tells you. This kind of people-pleasing is exhausting, not just emotionally, physically. Your body carries the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths, of words you swallowed, of boundaries you never set, of a version of yourself you buried so deep you forgot it was ever there. Now let's talk about the people whose opinions you've been so afraid of. Let's actually look at them. Because here is something that nobody says out loud, but everybody needs to hear. The people who judge you the most harshly, the ones who have an opinion about how you dress, how you talk, what you choose to do with your life, are almost never the people you actually want to be. Think about that. Really think about it. When was the last time someone truly inspiring, someone genuinely building something with their life, someone focused and purposeful and growing, stopped to tear someone else down? It doesn't happen. Because people who are busy becoming something don't have time to commentary on what you're doing. They're too focused on their own path. The loudest critics in your life are almost always the most stagnant. They are people who stopped growing and started watching. People who traded their own dreams for the comfort of judging someone else's. Their opinion of you is not wisdom. It is a distraction from their own unlived life. Here is something that might change the way you see yourself forever. Neuroscientists have discovered that the human brain cannot tell the difference between physical pain and social rejection. When someone excludes you, criticizes you, or withdraws their approval, the exact same region of your brain lights up as when you break a bone. The same region, which means the fear of rejection isn't weakness. It isn't sensitivity. It is a deeply wired survival response that kept our ancestors alive in tribes where being cast out meant death. You were never overreacting. You were never too sensitive. You were human, completely, beautifully, wired for connection human. But here's what that also means. The pain you feel when someone doesn't approve of you is ancient. It belongs to a version of the world that no longer exists. You're not in a tribe. You will not die if someone doesn't like you. And the moment you truly internalize that, the whole game changes. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in the history of psychology, spent his life studying why humans suffer, and one of his most powerful observations was this: that we don't just have a conscious self that we show the world. We have a shadow, a hidden side, the parts of us we were taught to be ashamed of, the ambition that felt too arrogant, the anger that felt too aggressive, the sensitivity that felt too weak. So we hid those parts. We locked them away, and we built a mask instead, what Jung called the persona, a polished, socially acceptable version of ourselves, designed to win approval. But here's the tragedy. The more you wear the mask, the more you forget your real face. You become so good at being what everyone else needs you to be that you lose track of what you actually need. You stop knowing what you want, what you believe, what makes you genuinely happy, because you've spent so long making sure everyone else is comfortable. Jung also said something that very few people are ready to hear. He said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Read that again. The patterns you keep repeating, the relationships that always end the same way, the opportunities you keep walking away from, the self-sabotage that shows up every time you get close to something good. That isn't bad luck. That isn't the universe working against you. That is your unconscious mind running a program that was installed in you before you were old enough to choose. And the only way to change the program is to look at it, to stop running from your own shadow, to sit with the parts of yourself you've been afraid of and say, I see you. I'm not ashamed of you anymore. That moment of radical self-acceptance is not weakness. It is the most courageous thing a human being can do. And here is the truth about judgment that will set you free if you let it. Psychologists have found that when people judge others, when they criticize, mock, or belittle someone else's choices, it is almost always a projection of their own insecurities, their own unlived dreams, their own fears about themselves. The person who laughs at your ambition is quietly terrified of their own. The person who mocks your appearance is fighting a war with their own reflection every single morning. The person who tells you that you're too much is someone who has always felt like not enough. Their judgment was never about you. It was always about them, which means you have been shrinking yourself, editing yourself, abandoning yourself for people who are fighting their own silent battles and using you as the battlefield. That stops today. There comes a moment, and for some people it hits like a wave. For others, it's a slow, quiet realization, where you get tired. Not lazy tired, soul tired. Tired of shrinking, tired of performing, tired of editing yourself before you walk into a room. And in that tiredness, something powerful is born. A decision, a quiet, unshakable decision that says, I am done living my life through other people's eyes. That decision doesn't make you arrogant. It doesn't make you cold or disconnected. It actually makes you more compassionate. Because when you stop needing approval from others, you stop resenting them for not giving it. You free them too. Think about a seed planted in the wrong soil. It will still try to grow. It will push through the dirt, reach toward the light, do everything in its power to become what it was made to be. But it will always struggle, always strain, always produce less than its potential. That's what happens when you spend your life growing in the direction of other people's expectations instead of your own truth. You grow, but never fully, never freely. The moment you move into the right soil, the moment you start living for yourself, everything that was always inside you finally has room to breathe. Look at every person you genuinely admire, Every person whose life makes you feel something when you read about them. The ones who built something real, who changed something, who left a mark. Not one of them got there by asking for permission. Not one of them got there by making sure everyone was comfortable with their choices. Every single one of them was called crazy before they were called visionary. Every single one of them was doubted before they were celebrated. Edison was told he was too stupid to learn anything. Oprah was told she was unfit for television. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. The very people the world now holds up as examples of greatness were once the targets of the same judgment you are afraid of right now. Let that sink in. The opinion that is stopping you today is the same kind of opinion that almost stopped them. Almost. There is a psychological concept called post-traumatic growth. Most people have heard of post-traumatic stress, the way trauma breaks people down. But post-traumatic growth is the other side of that coin. It is what researchers discovered when they studied people who had been through devastating loss, illness, failure, and heartbreak. They found that a significant number of these people, after going through the darkness, came out the other side reporting that their lives were more meaningful, their relationships deeper, their sense of self stronger than it had ever been before. Not despite what they went through, because of it. Which means that if you are in a dark place right now, if you are watching this from the bottom of something that feels like it has no end, you are not at the end of your story. You are in the middle of your transformation. The darkness you are sitting in right now is not your destination. It is your becoming. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps. He lost everything: his family, his home, his freedom. And yet inside those camps, watching people around him give up and die, he made an observation that would change psychology forever. He said that the last of human freedoms is the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Not the circumstances themselves, not what happens to you, but how you choose to meet it. He watched people in the most unimaginable conditions find meaning, find purpose, find reasons to keep going, and he watched others with far less suffering give up entirely. The difference was never the size of the pain, it was the presence of meaning, which means that no matter where you are right now, no matter how lost, how broken, how far from who you thought you'd be by now, the moment you find one reason to keep going, one thing that matters, one person to live for, one version of yourself worth fighting for, that is enough. That is everything. That is the thread that pulls you back. Let's be honest about what the need for approval is really stealing from you. It's stealing your creativity, because you can't create freely when you're worried about judgment. It's stealing your relationships, because real intimacy requires vulnerability, and you can't be vulnerable when you're performing. It's stealing your decision-making, because every major life choice gets filtered through what will people think instead of what do I actually want. It's stealing your time, hours, days, years spent managing other people's perceptions of you, and perhaps most painfully, it's stealing your identity. Because the person who's constantly adapting to please others slowly loses the thread back to themselves. Ask yourself this honestly. The people whose judgment you are most afraid of, are they happy? Are they free? Are they living in a way that inspires you? Are they the kind of person you want to become? Because if the answer is no, and for most people it is no, then what exactly are you protecting? You're living your life through the lens of people who haven't figured out their own. You're editing your dreams based on the opinions of people who abandoned theirs. You're making yourself smaller to fit into rooms built by people who were too afraid to build something bigger. That is the real tragedy. Not that they judged you, but that you let it matter. Psychologists have found that authenticity, the act of living in alignment with your true values and self, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness. Not success, not wealth, not popularity, authenticity. People who live authentically report higher life satisfaction, stronger immune systems, better sleep, and deeper connections with others. Your body literally functions better when you stop pretending, when you stop performing, when you stop being who everyone else needs you to be and start being who you actually are. That is not a philosophy, that is biology. Your entire system, mental, physical, emotional, was designed for authenticity. The suffering you feel when you suppress yourself isn't random. It's your body sending you a signal. It's your soul knocking on the door saying, "This isn't the life we're supposed to be living." So how do you actually stop? It doesn't happen overnight. But it starts with one practice: noticing. Start noticing every time you're about to say something, and you edit it. Every time you're about to make a decision, and you pause to imagine what others will think. Don't judge yourself for it. Just notice. Because awareness is the beginning of freedom. The second step is small acts of authenticity. Say the opinion you'd normally keep to yourself. Wear the thing you actually like. Order what you actually want at the restaurant instead of what seems acceptable. These small moments of choosing yourself build a muscle, and over time, that muscle gets strong enough to carry you through the bigger choices. The career change, the relationship you need to leave, the dream you've been too afraid to say out loud. Here's the beautiful, almost unfair paradox of all this. The less you need people's approval, the more people respect you. The less you chase validation, the more magnetic you become. Think of the moon. It doesn't ask the ocean for permission to create the tide. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't perform. It simply is what it is. And the entire ocean responds. That's the energy of a person who has stopped seeking approval. They don't demand attention. They don't beg for respect. They simply exist fully and completely as themselves. And the world reorganizes around that. And if you are someone who is in a dark place right now, if you have been carrying something heavy for a very long time, I want you to hear this. Research in psychology has shown that one of the most powerful things a human being can experience is feeling truly seen. Not fixed, not saved, just seen. So let me see you for a moment. You have survived every single hard day of your life so far. Every moment you thought you couldn't get through. You got through. You are still here, and that is not a small thing. That is everything. The fact that you are still searching, still watching, still looking for something that speaks to the part of you that hasn't given up. That part is the most important part. Don't let the noise of the world drown it out. Don't let the opinions of people who are too afraid to live their own lives dictate the size of yours. That quiet voice inside you that says things could be different. Listen to it. It has never been wrong about you. The most powerful version of you isn't louder. It isn't more successful on paper. It isn't more attractive or more talented. It's simply more you. Unapologetically, completely, fully you. The version that doesn't shrink in rooms, that doesn't perform for crowds, that doesn't wait for permission to take up space. That version has always been inside you. It was just buried under years of trying to be what the world wanted instead of what your soul knew you were. You don't need more followers to feel worthy. You don't need more likes, more compliments, more people agreeing with you. You need to come home to yourself. And the next time someone judges you, the next time someone has an opinion about your life, your choices, your dreams, look at them. Really look at them. Ask yourself if that is the life you want. Ask yourself if that is the person you are trying to become. And if the answer is no, smile. Because their opinion just became irrelevant. Because the people worth listening to are too busy building their own lives to tear down yours. Because judgment is just fear wearing a confident face. And you are done being afraid. Because the moment you stop seeking approval from the outside world is the moment you discover you had everything you needed all along. And that's when everything, truly everything, begins to change. If this spoke to you, save this video and come back to it on a hard day. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because we drop this kind of content every single week. Your growth matters here.